Okay, welcome back. This is the big issue. A very big welcome to our TV viewers as well. We are live on 97.3 Citi FM, on Citi TV, and on DSTV channel 363. We are on Facebook and we are on other socials, 97.3 Citi FM, and then Citi FM on, Citi TV on Facebook. We'll be happy to share your views with the rest of the world. Just gone by the discussion on the Kaswa killing of the killing of a military officer over land disputes in Kaswa. We just had a discussion on land guardism and how the nation or the state can help deal with that, and a number of things were suggested. Now let's go to Ejisu, which had a by-election this week. The MPP won, but many have said that the MPP did not win it in grand style. There were a number of issues which also arose from there. Now, constituents in Ejisu are excited with the victory of the New Patriotic Party candidate in the by-election, expressing optimism and confidence that the candidate, who is a lawyer, will continue spearheading developmental projects in the constituency. Ashanti regional correspondent for Citi FM, Citi TV, Doris Lonta, gives a wrap of this week's by-election.
Hours before the Electoral Commission officially declared Kwabena Boateng as the winner of the fiercely contested by-election, constituents and supporters of the New Patriotic Party's candidate were already jubilating. They expressed unwavering belief in his victory, asserting that Ejisu would not elect an independent candidate as a member of parliament. Speaking with Citi News, he emphasized the expectations for the newly elected MP to prioritize and advance major developmental projects.
I feel great and happy because everything shows that lawyer will win this election. Because we MPP members, we know ourselves. The young patron, we know ourselves. We know that definitely lawyer will win this election. So we are happy.
Now that he has won, what are your expectations?
Actually, right now, I am a lawyer. Our lawyer is me. The only thing I will try to do, the things that opposition used to sabotage us, I will try everything possible that we will fulfill all that promise so that December election will be.
We are okay because we knew he was going to win. Yeah, we knew he was going to win because there is no way Ejisu will vote for an independent candidate. And we know the work that we did, and we know how Ejisu constituency has been faithful and has been loyal to the NPP party. So we knew we were going to win. We don't expect all that much. We have about 7 to 8 months to get to December, which we have a general election to go. And we don't expect all that much. We know he's going to continue what our boss, the late lawyer John Kuma, started.
Kwabena Boateng, representing the New Patriotic Party, emerged victorious in the Ejisu by-election. He secured 55.8% of the total vote cast, while his closest contender, Kwabena Ejiomi, a former MP on the ticket of the NPP, who contested this race as an independent candidate, garnered 43.3% of the total vote cast. Beatrice Boakye of the Liberal Party received 140 votes. Esther Osei of the Convention People's Party garnered 89 votes, representing 0.2%, while independent candidates Joseph Ajiman and Atakra Joseph had 222 and 23 votes respectively. During his acceptance speech, Kwabena Boateng pledged to unite party members and constituents ahead of the December general elections.
The tax is for us to go down and then talk to our people. They are our people. They are our people. I do not think that the party is minded, or that me as the MP-elect is minded to neglect anybody. Not at all. Political parties are built with multitudes. You need the people. So my task is to go down there and then be with my people, listen to them, whatever constitutes the disagreement. My job is to make sure that we jojo and then find the common grounds that will benefit the party.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ntim, expressed his commitment to reconcile independent candidate Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi with the party.
The two main competitors, that is Aduomi versus the MPP, belong to the same fold. It's the same family. So we should not be looking at jubilating. I'm not jubilating here. My focus now is how to bring the Aduomi factor back to the fold, bringing them back to the family, so that in December, when we are going to face the real electoral or political opponents, we are going as a unified MPP.
All right, so that you heard the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ntim, and then that report by Doris Lonta from the Ashanti region. So in that election, as you know by now, and as the report indicated, the MPP made 55.8%, whilst the independent candidates, the MPP's candidate is Lawyer Boating, and then the independent candidates, Kwabena Aduomi, making 43.3%, and this really has been quite different in terms of looking at that particular constituency. Historically, and rightly so, that constituency is in a stronghold of the New Patriotic Party. In '96, the MPP got 75.7%. In 2000, 78.8%. In 2004, 78.2%. In 2008, 82.3%. In 2012, 80.5%. In 2016, 83.8%. And it's been like that for a very long time. And then in 2020, the late John Kuma had 82.8% against NDC's George Kwame Huze, who got 17.2%. In terms of absolute numbers, John Kuma got 68,326, and then NDC's George Kwame Huze got 14,164. So that was how it's been. But in this by-election, occasioned by the death of John Kuma, a very sad event, MPP fielded Kwabena Boating. NDC said they were not going to field any candidates, obviously because it's not been a stronghold. It's not been a place the NDC does wins any serious votes. And also, I'm sure maybe strategically they decided to stay away. And former MPP MP, Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi, also a former Deputy Roads and Highways Minister, decided to contest as an independent candidate. Indeed, posters had said it was a neck and neck, often within the margin of error. And we were surprised that it came up that way in terms of the polls. But on the day of the election, the polls were not far from right. Aduomi got 43.3%, which is 21,534. And the MPP's Kwabena Boating got 55.8%, which is 27,782. The question is, so that's it you have on your screen there, the results as shared by the Electoral Commission, announced by the Electoral Commission, the various candidates in there, 6 candidates, and the NPP and the independent candidate being the main contenders. The question is, why this poor showing by the NPP, a place, as I rightly pointed out, largely dominated. I mean, no contest at all when there's an MPP person in the race. Why did the MPP struggle? In fact, it had to take the whole machinery of the state, chief of staff, vice president, the president himself, going there to campaign. At some point, the vice president actually said that the NDC was supporting Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi because NDC is not liked in the area. Maybe the thinking was that when you tag Kwabena Aduomi as NDC, the people will come out and vote against him. But perhaps it worked, perhaps it didn't. The president also had some strong words for Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi, who served in his government as a deputy minister. We've seen that before in the 2020 elections when some persons went independent. I mean, Formina and all of that. We saw how the president dealt with them on the platform, political platform, etc. But this is what it is. Honorable Samuel Ayepe, your party appears to have struggled, obviously, in that area. What do we attribute that to? Is it because your people, the party is losing favor in the area, or is because of the strength of the independent candidate fielded?
Well, for me, I don't see it as a struggle, and I didn't see any struggle.
You could have lost. You nearly lost.
If any struggle, it's a struggle between MPP and MPP. Because if you put the two votes together, Aduomi is MPP. And then Lawyer Boateng is also MPP. So what happened in Ejisu was between Lawyer Boateng, who is MPP, and Engineer Aduomi, who is also MPP. So putting it together, one may say that the MPP had about 99.1% of the vote in Ejisu, because the NDC did not put in any candidate for that by-election.
But if you had one, you would have taken from your numbers from Parliament. It would have affected the numbers. And it would have changed the dynamics really.
I didn't hear Honorable Aduomi saying that.
That what?
That when he wins, he was going to join the minority or the NDC.
Your party said they were not going to. NDC.
What happened when Lawyer Siama was contesting in Formina? What did the MPP say? Normally, we do that to prevent people from voting for the independent candidate. But when the independent candidate wins, you have no choice than to poke him into your fold. And the Aduomi I know, and MPP as he is, winning will definitely go and sit by the MPP in Parliament.
What I'm saying is
so
that
what
it
happened,
would have changed the dynamics. MPP would have had fewer members of Parliament as MPP MPs.
No, that is not how Parliament is
no, but done. We have the majority party and the minority party.
Yes, but when you go to Parliament, you have the majority side, the group, and then the minority group. So when you are independent candidates, you add to a group in Parliament, not a party in Parliament. Okay. Yes, at the end of the day, you are going to have the MPP group in Parliament being lesser by one as compared to the NDC group. But when you're talking about minority and majority and groupings in Parliament, it is done either by majority or minority. So when you go an independent candidate add to a group in Parliament, that group becomes majority. So that is where I'm looking at. So I didn't see that. I saw it as a contest, like an internal elections between MPP and MPP. Two MPP members contesting. And one had 55.8%, the other 43.3%, coming together to make 99.1%. So whether MPP had 55% and then Honorable Aduomi had 43, that's not where I'm looking. I'm looking at a situation where together we have about 106,000 registered voters. And putting what we were able to manage together, we had something close to about 48,000 people, leaving more than 60,000 people who did not even turn out to vote. That is where the problem is. If you listen to the national chairman of the MPP, Honorable Stephen Tin, he said it, that he's quickly going to get the fold of those with the Aduomi camp to back into MPP. That is where we have to look at. That is where we have to work together, work hard to make sure that apathy will not set in the 2024 7th December election, so that we have a lot of people coming out to vote. Because don't forget the fact that we win 83% in Ejisu. So if apathy set in, and then we get the 83% all right, but the absolute votes becomes so little, it affects the national election. I'm talking about the presidential election. Though you are going to have the seat all right to add to what you have in Parliament in 2025. At the end of the day, the votes that we have in Ejisu may not be enough. So the party, as MPP, what we are going to do now to make sure that coming into 7th December election, we have a lot of people going into the voting centers and voting.
But it is true. Do you know that Aduomi has declared his support for Alan Chimante's movement for change? So the talk about he being MPP, etc., may change by now, because he in fact, Hobson Adoye was his agent at the coalition center.
I didn't hear him personally saying that, but I saw a lot of the Afafanto group campaigning for him. But if you listen to the people of Ejisu before the by-elections, and those who wanted to vote for Eduomi, none of them said we are going to vote for Eduomi because of Afafanto. Yeah,
but
they said
yes,
this man has been
parliamentary election.
Yes,
this
but
a parliamentary,
yes,
you know.
but definitely you will see if indeed people were going to vote for him because he belonged to the Alliance Afafantos section of the political divide.
And
yes,
Alan comes from Ejisu.
Yes, but we heard them. They said, oh, he's been our MP. This road was constructed by him. He was close to us. He did A for us. He did B for us. We prefer him better than any other candidate.
Yes, so see,
this were statements that came out from the people before the vote.
Yes, but
so
the people
that is what caused the president. That's what caused the president went to the Constitution and said that all what he claimed he has done, all what you are going to do, vote for him because of what he has done. He did that in my name. I gave him that approval to do those projects. So Eduomi had this vote because of the way he handled the constituency, the development he brought to the people from 2009 to 2021. Don't forget, I entered parliament with Eduomi in 2009, and we both led parliament same year. And I succeeded him after he was the chairman for Roads and Transport Committee. When he left, I became the chairman. And that is where I make pronouncement on other network, and Honorable Inisa was quoting. I did not say my party is not treating me well. What I said was that, look, it pains me. Some of us are in pain. Why? Because those who are getting better treatment from the party. Honorable Eduomi, for instance, you were chairman of Roads, you became a member of parliament for 12 years, you were made a deputy minister of Roads and Highways. Honorable Inisa, he has been minister for Roads and Highways. Some of the ministries are higher than others. You may be of minister for roads, somebody may be minister for information. The two are not same, though you are all ministers.
Information is not as big as roads.
Yes, that's what I'm talking.
Why so?
So when you are
because of the resources you control,
the resources you control.
But the resources are not yours. The resources are to be used for the people.
Yes, but it is not yours. But because you have a bigger resources, you do a lot of projects, and then we do that and that. So if we're deputy minister of roads, we can equate you to somebody who is minister of information, a deputy minister of finance. We can equate you to somebody a minister of tourism. So when you were a deputy minister, not in a mere ministry but roads, and we had all this opportunity to lobby for projects. When I became chairman, I also lobbied for projects in my constituency. None of them, the contractors were not paid for them to complete the project for me. And as a result, I lost my seat. But you, because we're a deputy minister, you had this opportunity to lobby for payment for your contractors. And the roads have been constructed. Today, I don't want to go there because we have won the elections. I don't want to go there because we want Honorable Eduomi. Yes, because it's an inter-party affair. This one, that's where I see it. Eduomi had 43, we have 55. Eduomi is MPP, and then
what you are not seeing is between now to December, if Eduomi is to work hard and he is on the ticket of Afafanto, you will lose.
I don't think Eduomi
because we understand that he's declared so.
Eduomi will not come again.
Why won't he come again?
Oh, he will not. We have 55.8% because I can even say most of the electorate did not come out to vote. So the work that we have to do is to make sure that
we'll deal with the issue
about
low turnout.
We'll deal with the low turnout that we've seen
we'll deal with that
in these elections
shortly.
Will even go better for us to get more people to the vote.
Honorable, let me say that in this segment of the discussion, my guest, Inusa Fuseni, former MP, Tamale Central, former Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Samuel Ayepe, former MP Ayeswano, which is...
Don't forget, he's also a former minister for roads.
Former minister
one of the biggest ministries.
Former minister for roads and highways. But in the first discussion...
So when we finish, we'll follow him to his car.
We leveraged his lands and natural resources.
We'll follow him to his car, yes, we have to.
And so you are a member of the MPP communications team too. We have, Professor Ali Dusedu, who is
political science.
Who is a political science professor at the University of Ghana. He's joining us, and then also Franklin Kujo, our resident analyst and everything, is also on this segment of the show. So once again, gentlemen, you're welcome. We are dealing with the matter of the Ejisu by-election. We're analyzing the electoral results. amid incumbent bribery allegations. We'll get to all of that. But Honorable, your party did not field a candidate. Why didn't you field a candidate? People were expecting that you will field a candidate so we see whether you've improved your strength in the area or not, but you decided not to.
Oh,
wouldn't that be detrimental to your base?
No, strategically it was not wise for us to field the candidate.
But you'd have tested your strength.
No, you don't need 7 months to test your strength. You needed more months. I mean, the MP will be in parliament for at most 7 months and leave parliament. A lot of resources have been expended in this by-election. And so for us, we said, look, why don't we prepare? And I heard you say that, well, because that place is an MPP stronghold. We have always fielded candidates at Ejisu. Strongholds. Yes, we have always. But for these particular elections, 7 months to the general election, a party in a position, you will want to make choices which are relevant to the bigger picture and not put resources that you don't have in a by-election that you might not win at all. And so, yes, it's good to test your strength, but not when the time is too short. So we decided that for a party, it was in our strategic interest to pool resources together and target the general election.
So what did the results say to you?
The results clearly is a referendum on the performance of the MPP. You read what has been happening over the years. I went to Parliament as a by-election MP. Senuwayo was the MP for Tamale Central. He resigned, carpet to the MPP. I whipped him in the by-election. I whipped him. He was not that close. Now, he was, and then the MPP guy, person, he crossed over to the NDC and went back to the MPP.
In an area which was NDC, so he won because it's an NDC area.
So when he went back and decided to contest the elections as an independent candidate, he didn't have a chance. But Adiumi and IEP, they were both leaders. At the time I was minister, they were leaders of the Roads and Transport Committee. I remember I had running battles with him, but not Adiumi. Yes, but clearly, both of them have been hard done by. Both of them. And I see the pain in Adiumi. I see the pain in him, only that he won't admit. He's not joined the
Fafranta movement.
Yes. I see the pain. Because you see, even as an opposition member of parliament, the Roads and Transport Committee had some leverage over me when they were there. Now, watching them from outside, they had no leverage over their own minister. They had no leverage. And so they feel hard done by. Adobe was the MP. Somehow, I think he stepped on the toes of the venerable Nana Akufo-Addo. And then they worked to get him out. Adobe was worked out of parliament. It's not that, this is a person, and he knows, this is a person who commands tremendous respect from his colleague engineers. I was minister, I know. When we go for committee meetings with the Roads and Transport Committee, and he's speaking, even the chief director, who is an engineer then, who was an engineer, listened to him. Now, somehow, they thought that he wasn't fit to be in parliament. They sacked him.
But he was a deputy minister nonetheless.
They sacked him. They compensated him with the deputy minister. You have your ranking member for roads and transport, and you couldn't compensate him with a deputy minister, ranking member, who was able to hold the balls of the minister to fire and got you to win elections. You made him deputy minister. So, but it's a referendum. It's a referendum on the MPP. And that is why you don't see celebrations.
They said it's a party.
No, it's not a party. Adione has said severally that no. No, he said, they themselves, if it is a party matter, the president went and the vice president and leading members of the party went and said that they cast Adione away like a ship.
But we saw same for Honorable Isiama. But when he won, he found favor with the MPP. Sits with the MPP.
Adione is not Asiama.
But after winning, the reality of political power would dawn. But I'm not sure Edwin was going to sit with the NDC side.
I don't say that. I'm not saying that. I'm not
so
saying
he would
that.
have sat with them anyway.
To assume that Adioni will behave like Asiama is to assume wrongly. They are not the same. Now, but what I'm saying is that they had to throw mud at him. Mad at him.
And go there with projects and a lot of works.
And even attack his integrity to be able to win. And they had to, bastardize the electoral system to be able to win. They did a lot of things that are undemocratic to be able to win.
I see.
So this election results is not reflective of a clean democratic contest. You know the party agents.
But Hobson Adoes, who was agent for him, said the results has been good and reflective. Of course, he threw in the point that there was some
irregularities
and all of that. But
do you know that they had to bring in some areas that they were not so sure. They had to import.
As for irregularities, we see it in all elections.
And
then when it comes to by-elections, it becomes even worse. Because we witnessed by-elections in NDC stronghold.
Oh, what I'm saying is that
was in power.
Mr. I'm not the road minister. I know you used to deserve the one I'm saying. Wait, and I'll finish.
They go into the alleged by construction of roads and other things headed by he was the rules minister. He also made mention of something that
your microphone is off actually. So what you're saying, you're shooting blanks. Let him finish.
Do you know that some of the party agents were brought from other constituencies? MPP operatives in other constituencies were brought into Ejisu to be party agents.
Why so?
To be able to compromise the system.
But party agents will compromise the system.
Yes.
But they were party agents for the they were polling agents for the other.
Which other?
Odiomi should have polling agents. He should have polling agents if he was a serious contender.
Illegal to have
polling
agents.
I'm not talking about polling agents. Sorry, I'm not talking about polling agents. I'm talking about electoral officers. I'm talking about electoral officers.
But electoral officers, the electoral commission determines where he gets
but the electoral commission law says that even though somebody who is clearly and manifestly a party member cannot be, you know that. But they brought party members to be electoral.
But how do you know that?
I know that. I know that as a fact because somebody.
As what?
As a fact.
As party
people.
NPP people from
electoral commission officers.
From Kwahu, they brought them to be.
Is that what you did?
All right. Let me speak.
So then you see Kwadasu MP. Was he contesting Ejisu elections?
He wasn't.
Was he a polling agent?
He went there to campaign for NPP.
But you don't campaign
on the voting day.
On the day
the elections.
In front of the officers.
For that, he was there before the day of the election.
He came into the inner perimeter
to campaign for MP.
No, but let me speak to
on the day of the election.
Let me talk to Prof. Hello, Prof. Ali Dusedu. Welcome to the program. Excited to have you as always. The Ejisu by-election and the results. Of course, there are a number of things in the dynamics, etc. Many have said that this is a referendum, including Honorable Yunus Afuseni here, that it's a referendum on the performance of the MPP. Given that it's a stronghold of the party failed to live up to its own standards of over 70% votes, etc. in the past. What do you think, from your viewpoint, do you think that the result is indicative of anything the MPP should be worried about going into election 2024 in Ejisu and the country generally?
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning to your viewers and good morning to my senior brother, Honorable Yunus Afuseni, and to the Honorable MP. So I think I agree perfectly with Honorable Yunus Afuseni. You see, when you look at elections, it's an issue of numbers game. Looking at our current parliamentary dynamics, it's about 137, 137 for the two dominant political parties. And to be able to prosecute government business as political party in government, you need a little bit of majority to be able to do that. And you have seen the challenges the MPP government has faced in this ability to, in this attempt to prosecute government business because of the numbers. So the numbers are quite important. And that is the reason why the Ejisu by-election was done in a hurry, even when the MP was not even buried. So much in a hurry compared to other cases where people have been agitating for the MP positions. So roughly you have like 7 to 8 months to be able to prosecute government business. So it's very significant. One, there are a lot of issues that influence this particular dynamics. First of all, you have to look at the internal party challenges of the MPP as political party in government. The MPP is facing a lot of challenges. Started from their presidential contest, Alan Tramantin breaking away, and all even the apathy now in the Japan is showing up to this level. I think there were a lot of the primaries that they had done to elect parliamentary candidates. There were a lot of people who were not happy. They had stepped on the toes of a lot of people, and all attempts and petitions to get these things addressed were not taken seriously. So you begin to see that these people believe that it is my time. If the party will not take me serious and address my concerns, I have a way to make the party feel that I'm not happy. When you look at the voter party in Ejisu, for example, I think it was only in 1996 that they got 75%. All the other elections, they have scored more than 75%. It is only in this election. And in all those contests, there have been general elections where every MP is focused on winning his parliamentary seat. And party agencies and party government machineries and individuals all go to their constituencies to vote and to campaign. Compared to a by-election, all the nation, the attention of all the nation, the government machinery, the president down, are all in one particular location working. So you will have expected that. You will have expected that. The percentage. You will have expected that the percentage of vote will have been very high in Ejisu because it's a by-election and everybody was focusing and working there compared to other elections that they have won more. And it is basically hard to do. If you look at the turnout, the voter turnout, around 40-something%, which is very low. When you look at the voter dynamics of people in Ashanti, we usually explain it by what we call the dominant party model. It's largely seen, the people in Ashanti region is largely seen to vote based on partisan lines. And they are a stronghold of the MPP. So we expect that the turnout should have been very high, especially given the NDC strategy not to contest and the independent candidate showing very strongly, and all the party machinery were campaigning against it. So we're expecting high turnout. Where high turnout is very low in a stronghold, the explanation, there will be several explanations, but one of them has to do with apathy, that the people are not happy with the performance of government or with the performance of their MP, but they are not willing to transfer their vote to another political party other than the party that they strongly believe in. So when this thing happens, what the best option for them to do is to stay at home and not come out to vote. And to stay at home or voter apathy is another form of protest to let people know that things are not going on well and attention has to be paid. And I'm very happy when the national chairman made it very clear that moving forward, they'll have to close their ranks. Ejisu is just one of them. There are several constituencies that have this same problem lacking on, and people are not paying attention to it. So what these people may do, some of them may not be bold enough to come and contest as independent candidates, especially if not a by-election. What they will do is to undermine the MPP presidential candidate moving forward so that that person will lose. They'll do it underground. They'll lobby people and to undermine him greatly, and then he will lose the seat. And when that happens, he will have the opportunity to contest that particular person or for that particular seat in 2028. So I think largely what has happened in Ejisu should be a wake-up call to the MPP. And also see as part of the strategy was this issue of vote buying, largely monetization. I think before this election, the Info Analytic did a survey that suggested that close to 60% or more said they will receive money that is paid to them by political parties and either decide to vote or not vote for that particular candidate, compared to a little over 30% who say that they will reject the money, whether they are going to vote for the candidate who is trying to induce them or not. So we tend to see that people are now gravitating towards what? Receiving instantaneous benefit to be able to determine who they vote for. And when this happened and people realize that, political party realize that this is the way electorate want to be treated, then definitely they'll be treated that way. And there were a lot of evidence to show that this was largely done in the Ejisu by-election. But that's still notwithstanding. The voter turnout was very low, but also what the percentage of victory was also very low. I disagree with Honorable when he said that it was a contest between the MPP, one the former, and no, it's not true. It is a convenient explanation. in legal terms, you cannot have the same political party contesting on the same ticket. So one was a former member of the party who contested as an independent candidate, and the other is an incumbent candidate who was contesting on the ticket of the party. But if he had won and then this MPP was able to speak to him and bring him to their fold, that is a very different thing. But you can't add up the victory, the percentage of vote of the MPP and then the independent candidate who was contesting him and lump them up as a percentage of the MPP. I don't think that works. So I think the MPP has to set up, they'll have to do their homework well, they'll have to do self-retrospection and then reconciliation to be able to make sure that aggrieved people in other constituencies who are keeping quiet and are not very vocal and are not doing anything, don't take things for granted and try to undermine the candidates. I think it is still time for them to be able to close their ranks and be able to compete competitively in 2020, in December 2024.
Very well. Prof, you talked about the voter turnout in a stronghold, and that is a problem. We have some data on voter turnout in by-elections, and of course, I think we have some on strongholds. So in the Kumawu election, for example, this was also in a stronghold. If we could put that on the screen, that's also in the stronghold, but the voter turnout was just around 44%, which is lower than we saw. But we did not have the concerns. In Asin North, voter turnout was 74%. Voter turnout was 74%, which is quite high, and we know the circumstances. In Ayawaso West Wogon, I mean, there were a lot of issues there. 19% and all of that. In Ejisu, we had just about 46%. So the point about it being a stronghold and so the voter turnout being low was problematic and all of that when it was expected to be high. I'm not sure how that places, because Kumawu equally a stronghold. Kumawu equally a stronghold, but the turnout was lower than we saw this week in Ejisu.
So there's a dominant explanation. There may be other explanations, but voter turnout, specifically or especially in the by-election, where all attention of the country is on that particular constituency, could be explained differently. But the most overriding thing has to do with a form of protest. And protest usually manifests in apathy towards participation, especially whether the people are not happy with the government or they are not happy with the candidate or they are protesting something. That has to be investigated. And when you look at the run up to this particular election, there have been a lot of complaints, especially from the rank and file or the Ashanti Regional Caucus in Parliament, that the rules in the Ashanti region and a whole lot of developmental projects are not forthcoming. People were complaining that we had recent upsurge in prices of economic goods in the market, the doomsday challenges that we're facing. So there were a whole lot of things. And also the fact that the independent candidate also had supporters from the MPP who were not happy with the way he was treated. So when you put all these things together, one of the ways that they can speak strongly is through protest. And one of the ways they can protest is not to turn out to vote. And that was why I explained it. If you look at the dominant party voter model, it speaks to the fact that people vote largely because of their commitment and loyalty to a specific party. And that loyalty mostly is non-transferable. So if I am a sworn NDC MPP person, for example, in Ejisu, and I'm not happy with things that is happening in my party, that will not force me or compel me to transfer my vote to the NDC or any other political party. And if I'm not willing to do that, the best way I can do is to stay at home. What others can also do is to join the queue, but spoil the ballot, so that at the end of the day, the number of spoiled ballots are very high. And where political watchers are very serious about this, they want to investigate to find out why the spoiled ballots have been very high. And they'll be able to unlock or decode the message that these people are saying. Sometimes not that they don't know who to vote for. They just spoil the ballot to send a message. And people, rationally, people think that it is a waste of time to wake up early in the morning, join the queue, and to spoil my ballot just to send a message. I can equally stay at home and then send the message. So if the voter turnout is very low, it's one of the explanations. I'm not saying that it may not happen in a non-stronghold constituency. It could happen in a non-stronghold constituency. But the issue is that it's a form of protest and the message is being communicated. And people have to establish why that is so, or which particular message is being communicated.
I see. Of course, a lot of reasons given for the low turnout in this particular election. So the apathy, obviously, is one of them. We have another slide which my team has put together as reason for that. So now, we understand that on the day of the election, it was a market day. And so people were more interested in going to the market to deal with their own businesses than, going to vote for a candidate who they may not benefit from, maybe. Number two, by-election malaise has been called. By-elections have their own things in terms of turnouts. Two candidates from the same party, more or less, from the same roots. And so they think that it's a family fight. I don't support Honorable Samuel Epe's point, though, but it's also come up as one of them. And also, the NDC is just one of a small point. The NDC did not show up. So all those people who may be voting NDC in the last election, about 14,000 of them, they may not have been interested in the election because their candidate is not. Of course, some of them will go and vote against the dominant party's candidate, but we do not know that. So all of them, we assume, or most of them, we assume, will sit home because they didn't really have an interest in there. And the general point about voter apathy you made, which appeared to be a very strong point for you. How about the other factors such as the market day, the fact that it's a market day, and the fact that the two candidates were from the same party, so people view this as an internal fight. How do you reconcile these points to your earlier points, with your earlier points?
So we have tangential explanations and then established explanations.
Okay.
So the voter turnout is an established dominant explanation, especially where we have the dominant party model operating. So if you look at the other by-elections, so the market day, the people having two candidates from the same party, NDC not filing a candidate, they are all tangential. They are just specific to the circumstances. There are other by-elections that your team have done well. It wasn't a market day. There were no candidates coming from the same political parties, and the NDC have filed. But largely, the turnout was still low. So the apathy is the dominant explanation. It's an established explanation in the literature. The other explanations may be specific to a specific by-election that you are looking at. The NDC not filing a candidate was a very strategic decision. And I think that was the best decision a party can take in an election like that, where you have less than 9 months to be in parliament. It's a stronghold of your competitive political party. It is going to be very expensive to be able to contest. And even before this election, the info analytic data suggested that the total, if you disaggregated the number of this, over 60% of people who have voted for the independent candidate, I think 95% within the NDC were willing to vote for the independent candidate if actually they were going to vote. So largely, you tend to see that there was a gravity, and even if they also polled independent undecided voters, and about close to 90% of them also said they will have supported the independent candidate. So you usually see that element of gravitation towards the opposing political party or candidate against the incumbent candidate in every by-election, or even when there's a runoff. People tend to say that there's an establishment candidate and all the others are anti-establishment candidates. So they gang up in opposition against the incumbent. So all these are kind of established explanations. So in all the by-elections that your team have looked at, it can be established that the voter apathy thing was clearly manifest in all of them. But the market day thing is a specific explanation to just Ejisu. The others were not market day. The election were not held on market days, and they were the same candidates contesting from the same party stock in those other. So all the other, and then DC had filed a candidate. So the dominant established explanation has been that element of protest.
Very well.
And then voter. But the others are
tangential. They apply, but they are tangential. Yeah. Very well. Let me share this with you. Member of Parliament for Achimota, Deputy Minister Designate for Health, he sent this in. I want to test this with you. He said, you see, for Ejisu, the turnout was low or lower because most of the voters who are predominantly MPP would have trooped in to vote if it was a general election to shore up the presidential vote. Voters in Ashanti region always want to protect their bragging rights, especially for the presidency, especially when they know the MPP parliamentary candidate will win anyway. This is from the Honorable Alexander Akwesi Akwa, Member of Parliament for Achimota and Deputy Minister Designate for Health. What do you think about this? Because it wasn't a general election, and Ashanti region voters are protective of, or they are, how did he put it? He said they are they want to protect their bragging rights, especially when it comes to the presidency. So for the love of the presidency, they will go to vote. And once they are there, they will vote for the parliamentary as well. How do you see this?
Yeah, I think it's a good explanation. But when you look at the voter behavior of ticket splitting, what we normally call skirt and blouse in Ghanaian parlance, ticket splitting work in a very rational way. But when you look at the history, so where a rational voter will go and cast a ballot for a particular candidate at the presidential level and a different ballot for what? A parliamentary candidate. Where this is largely manifest, it could explain this behavior, Honorable's explanation, that rational voters are likely going to ticket split. And if they are going to ticket split, and then the presidential for whom they have match, they think it's a match coveted trophy, stop contesting, they will not go because they don't care about the parliamentary. But if you look at the voter behavior and the historical pattern of voting in Ashanti region, they have been less ticket splitting. Whenever they go out, they vote for the presidential the way they vote for the parliamentary. And you tend to see that commensuratively, the victory of votes in the parliamentary presidential usually commensurate with the parliamentary. You hardly see ticket splitting than in Ashanti region. So it suggests that the people in the Ashanti region are not only not only rational, but they look at the ticket as a holistic component, and they don't ticket split. Where they are likely to ticket split, they will have said that, oh, then this one, because the presidential candidate is not contesting, we don't care so much. We are not going to vote because just the parliamentary candidate. I think winning both presidential and parliamentary is in your stronghold. It's a bragging right for the political party, especially moving to a very crucial election like the one we're going to have in December. And I believe that even though the MPP has won this seat, with the percentage of victory, people still think it's a huge spin tool for its political opponents to say that even in your own stronghold, where you have been winning a constituency, you have never won less than 75% since 1996. You are getting less of this percentage of vote. And that could mean that people are no longer happy with you, or people are fed up with you, or whatever particular explanation they want to give to this. So I think because Ashanti region voter behavior hasn't been underpinned largely by ticket splitting, it may be erroneous to explain that because the presidential wasn't contesting, people decided that, okay, if it's just the parliamentary, it doesn't matter. Historical voting pattern in the region suggests that the people always see the complete ticket as very relevant, and they have always voted commensuratively, both for the presidential and parliamentary.
You disagreed with some of the things,
yes.
But I mean, voter apathy, true.
Well, look, there was an independent candidate in my constituency in 2020 elections. Mm-hmm. He pulled 3,600 votes, and I lost the election by 200 votes, 240 votes. And when people ask, and I tell them, is it MPP independent or NDC independent? And so whatever you take it, whether the person be an NDC independent candidate or an MPP independent candidate. Honorable Edumi, yes, I agree, he's an independent candidate, but an MPP independent candidate. So whether I like it or not, it is MPP people who would have voted for the MPP presidential candidate,
people who are unhappy,
voted for him.
Who are unhappy
As for the voter apathy, whether I like it or whether it's been a by-elections or general elections, you have it, especially when the party is in government. People who think that they are not happy with how the party has treated them. I have a lot of family members. When they see me on radio, they don't understand why I should keep on talking and defending my party. Some of them tell me in my face that because of the way you have been treated, we are not going to vote for MPP again. We are not going to vote at all. You see, so for our party, when the government is when your party forms government, you get whether it be an NDC or MPP, people who think that they are not happy with the way they have been treated by the party in government. So the apathy you have with them. There are some people, whatever the party has done to them, they will never vote for the NDC. So especially in your strongholds, whatever the MPP has done to them, they will never vote for the MPP. They will vote for either they will stay home and not going to vote at all. So for apathy, you are going to have it. But we must also not forget the fact that the 48% voter turnout in Ejisu by-election is one of the highest in the history of by-elections in this country, apart from the one that I saw around 72-something%.
74.
74.
That was
19% in Ayawaso West Wagon. The whole Kumewu, where MPP won, the turnout was around 23%.
No, 44.
So 44%. Okay, so this one 49.6%. I don't think is bad at all. Yes.
But given the circumstances of this, you don't think they should have?
We have accepted the fact that we have a lot of work to do.
Very
Not
well.
only
Once
in the
that admission
not
is
only
made,
in the
that's
in my constituency, for instance, I don't have any intention to go independent. But what has happened in Ejisu, should anybody go independent again, we are not going to take it easy over there. Don't forget that MPP, Ejisu is not a safe seat for MPP, though not a swing seat. We've held it for 20 years.
In the margins for MPP have not been
exactly. It has not been
so the list
that is why when the independent candidate put 3,600, I lost.
Okay,
so we are not going to take things lightly in constituencies like Ejisu.
So now the MP in your area has entrenched himself there, so it will be difficult.
Not as I said.
Very well.
When he came in thinking that if Ejisu is MPP, I can go for only one term, especially when IAP is coming. So when I lost the primaries, then he wanted to come and say, hey, once IAP is not in, I stand opportunity to take the seat again. But it's been too late for him.
Oh, I see.
Very, very too
well,
late.
That's okay. That's your view.
So,
all right.
so first of all, let's explain the 19%.
Yeah, okay.
In Ejisu,
yes.
NDC withdrew from the contest.
Okay, so that's true. NDC withdrew from that. That was the
It
infamous
was the day of election.
Yes. So they announced to their people.
You had some votes.
No.
You had some votes.
Some
of your supporters voted for you. You withdrew the day of voting.
It's important to make that point.
It's important for you to understand that when you say turnout is simply the number of people who present themselves.
Day of elections.
Let him finish.
Turnout is the number of people who present themselves at the elections. So if we withdraw at 12 o'clock, that is 5 hours or so after voting has started, it will affect the
after
turnout.
some of your supporters are
I say it will affect. We're talking about the
so the reds didn't come down announcing the slate. And the Ofusampo food talk and all of that, which is currently being prosecuted for.
You may take it the way you want. But if you feed what has happened in Ejisu to the general narrative of what is happening in Ashanti region and what Ashanti region is saying, clearly you will understand why the people did not turn out to vote. Ashanti region has questioned the commitment of the MPP to the Ashanti region. And I hear it day in and day out. They think that that party, which has its navel in the Ashanti region, has treated them contemptuously. And so I will not be surprised if the turnout in the whole of Ashanti region reduces. I will not be surprised.
Notwithstanding the MP for Chimodan's view that if it comes to the presidential, they turn out to protect the bragging rights.
That one is an MP, so I won't use some words on him. In presidential elections, we have only one polling center, and we have only one returning officer, and that's the electoral commissioner. Everybody contributes to the election of a president. Your bragging right should be your ability to elect your MP. That's where your bragging right is. So for us, in areas there where we have not won, we have not, with NDC did not win the 2020 elections, presidential. But you go to the constituencies where we won, and then you are listening to the people, and they tell you, oh yes, we didn't win John Mahama did not win the presidential election, but for us, we won our seat. That's the bragging rights. That's what you call bragging rights. You see, because your ability to elect, the people of Ejisu have bragging rights. If this MP fails to perform, they will say what? That was why we trusted IEP. They will say that's why we trusted Akufo-Addo. That's where I think it's a first timer. Is it a first timer?
No, but who?
It's a first timer.
Who determines the bragging? The people determine the bragging right.
The bragging rights.
The bragging right is not an established. It's not an established right. It depends on who is talking. It depends on the people.
When a four-term MP is speaking, you have to listen.
We hear you.
The bragging rights. And anytime my people elected me, they will come to my house and say, look, we have elected you. Whether they like it or not, we have elected you. And then when you are on TV, they are happy that that's my MP. When the president is in,
it's everybody's president.
It's everybody's president. But this is our MP.
All right, let's get to the different leg of this. So another otherwise smooth election was marred by what others have christened bribery allegation. The member of parliament for Kwadaso, Dr. Kingsley Nyakun, who is Prof's good friend, I know, was involved in something. There was a TV camera videoing a journalist who was doing what we call piece to camera. And behind the scene, or just in the background, the MP was caught giving an envelope to Electoral Commission officials, albeit temporary staff. But of course, they were performing roles for the Electoral Commission. Initially, he said it was a document. That raised a lot of suspicion. What document are you giving to the people there? He said it was an envelope with nothing. Why do you give an envelope with nothing to somebody? And then now, Electoral Commission comes to say that upon their investigation, he gave them lunch. Of course, that statement did not pass judgment. It just gave the fact that the people said he gave them lunch. Whether he was supposed to have given them lunch or not is another matter. Whether he was supposed to be at the table there at that time is another matter, because we know that on the day of election, the table and its surround, that perimeter becomes a security zone. And so when he was not a member of the constituency, and therefore not a registered voter there, to go there to be inquiring from the officials raised quite some issues. But of course, because he was a big man, nobody said anything. And now he gave them envelopes. People have said this amounted to, or this amounts to influencing the process. Our laws frown against that. He has been putting up some defense. This is what he's been saying. So this is Dr. Kingsley Nyakun. Let's hear him.
I know that I've not influenced anybody. I've not influenced the process. I don't feel bad because I know I've done nothing wrong. Okay? I know it's politics. People are going to spin. You know, we've been in this political game all this while. And those who are spinning, I don't begrudge them. That is politics. That is it. But me, Kingsley Nyakun, I'm putting on record that I have not done anything, whether overtly or covertly, to influence the process. My candidates will win this election fair and square. Let me ask you this question. The polling agents, six candidates with their agents, isn't it? Yeah. So if I had done something bad to influence the process, don't you think that they would have raised an issue there? Your reporter was here. Ask him if anybody raised anything against me when I even put the document to the person. You have raised an issue.
All right, so this is a big issue. You just heard Dr. Kingsley Nyakun, Member of Parliament for Kwadaso. We understand he's been invited by the police. Office of the Special Prosecutor is also interested. He said he did nothing to influence the process. But of course, he did give an envelope which contained lunch. Not lunch as in physical food, but a means that could afford you lunch. We don't know how much was inside. Maybe as investigations go on, we will know how much was inside. Honorable Samuel Ipe, you have been at this before, not giving money to Electoral Commission officials, but you've been contesting
separate
and between the two of you, I think we have 7 elections or 6 elections. You are a 4-timer.
Yeah.
You are.
He is a 3-timer.
So between you 7 elections.
He did not contest the last election.
Yes, but you
I did.
Very well.
So in terms of contesting, maybe we contested equal times.
Yeah, okay, eight elections amongst you. All right, great. So this is what he has said. First of all, what is your view about what he went to do there?
Actually, when the elections are conducted, we have parties are asked to bring party agents for accreditation. So you see them having some tax around their necks that permit them to go to the voting area, though restricted. And also we have some people that we call monitors. They monitor the elections. So if I'm from Ejisu, I could be assigned to monitor the elections in Nsamam or maybe in Ejisu. So if I'm a monitoring officer that monitor the party on behalf of the elections on behalf of my party, I can go there, look at what is going on, and if I'm okay, if there's any complaints, I can lodge you to the presiding officer. So if you are not a member of the constituency and your party have elected you or appointed you as a monitoring officer, you have an accreditation from the Electoral Commission that permits you to go into the closer to the voting area, I think there's nothing wrong with that. If it is a bribe, why do you think a member of parliament who knows the law will go and give bribe to the officer
what are you
of
saying?
the electoral?
Don't people who know the law commit crime?
They do, but
yeah, so
I will be surprised if indeed he wants to give bribe and he will go and give the bribe to electoral officer at the voting center.
So why did he give him money? So wait, first, let's establish this. Let's establish this. That the fact that somebody cannot commit a crime because a person knows the law is neither here nor there.
I haven't said that.
No, he said, why will a member of parliament who knows the law want to go and commit a crime?
Exactly.
Which means that because he knows the law,
it doesn't mean that those who know the law don't commit crime.
Yeah, but what you're saying is that
if you go to prison, we have lawyers.
Yes.
Lawyers are not in prison.
What you're saying?
There are some lawyers in prison.
Which ones? Let's not go there now. What you are saying is that.
Are you saying lawyers don't commit crime?
Just focus on me. Okay. Lawyers know the law. And they don't commit crime.
Yes.
I don't know any judges in prison.
Okay.
Let's not digress.
So
the fact that he is a member of parliament doesn't mean that he cannot. So we need
admit. Let's move forward.
But I'm saying that in your view,
exactly
what he went to do there, was it right?
It depends on what
he said. He went to give them land. Let's assume that is correct.
Yeah.
Was it in his place to go and give officials of the Electoral Commission money for lunch?
I don't want to say yes or no.
No, but what is the right thing to say?
The right thing, you don't have to give lunch to Electoral Commission officers at the polling center.
Yes. So why was he doing that? Why did he do that?
But he said he gave them lunch. Is that what he's saying?
Yes, but of course, you see, Honorable, sometimes the politicians think that we all don't know what you are saying. If there's a process ongoing, I won't go and say, take this for bribe and influence the process. Nobody will say that.
Well, I'm asking that even if
nobody will say that
he want to give bribe, I don't think he will go and give the bribe to the officers who are discharging their duty at the voting center.
No, but he did. We only got to know because he was caught on camera.
It points to you that what is given to them is never a bribe.
But it was
so if it is a bribe, that's why he said he gave them lunch. If it is a bribe, I will not go. Nobody in his rightful sense, bribing an electoral officer, will hold the bribe in an envelope, go to the voting center, and give the money to the
where would he have done it? Where would he have done it?
Bribes are done in secret.
No, but this one,
you are a lawyer.
No, it would have been a secret. But for the camera.
So bribe, if you want to bribe
but for the camera.
That is why the law says even the one who receives the bribe, the one gives. That law, Honorable, if we can change it, because if the one who receives also offend the law, nobody will be caught in bribing. Because if I go and report, or if they catch me, the two of us are both going to prison. So do you want me to admit that I took a bribe? So nobody in rightful sense will say that I want to bribe the electoral officer. So let me take the bribe in an envelope and go to the center and give it to the electoral officer.
And it was predetermined. So, they had put it in packages in an envelope.
Yes, that alone should tell you that it's not a bribe.
That it was predetermined.
That should tell you that it's not a bribe.
It's not like the people say, well, now we are hungry, and they took just money.
Secrecy. You will have even sent it through Momo or meet them somewhere and give it to them.
Premeditated.
This reminds me of a referee who took a bribe and put it in his socks. Because I don't know. So for me, I don't think it is a bribe.
Okay,
if
so it was lunch.
He went there to give them lunch.
But was it his duty? The Electoral Commission gave them food and lunch and will pay them.
Always. Honorable
really?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
The Electoral Commission.
I wouldn't do that.
Providing them lunch.
No, I've never done that.
We all been doing
No.
Oh, so you're admitting?
No, me, I've not been doing
he hasn't done that. So you're admitting to something which may be a crime.
No, it's not a crime. Giving lunch to the it's not a crime. He's a lawyer. He can never admit
I don't do it because
that he has done it.
I don't do it because, and I advise you not to do it because you are a public officer. A member of parliament, it's a public officer. You have determined salary. You don't have any, you are not supposed to have any other salary anywhere. Temporary election officers are public officers. They are paid for the work they are doing, just like you are also paid as a member of
take part of
so where will you get money? No. Where do you get money to? So that is why.
No, but I can use my salary, which is determined, and give it to somebody.
Don't you raise fund during campaign?
Oh.
But he wasn't campaigning.
So the money, the money you use in your campaign are all from a salary.
Let him finish.
You raise funds.
Let him finish.
That is why the Constitution says that you should be capable. A candidate must be capable of raising funds.
The Constitution said that.
I'm not saying the national Constitution.
The party Constitution.
The party Constitution. And it is in the NDC Constitution. If you cannot raise funds, the party will never fail you as a candidate. Because they know your salary.
Let him land.
This man, he will stop you.
Wait, Honorable, please.
Okay, so you see, we are talking about bribe. But what actually happened is corruption. And this has been covered by our law. Act 1034 deals precisely with that. Now, Act 1034 was introduced by Gloria Akufo when she was the AG. And that was to corruption and other offenses, obstructing the public officer in the performance of his duties or her duties were misdemeanors.
So, an amendment to the
criminal at 29. So on October 27th, the Nana Akufo-Addo signed the act into law. And it is important for you to read, for me to read certain aspects of the law for our general public to understand what Dr. Cecily Nyako had done. Now, section 1 of the Act 1034 amends section 239 of Act 29. And particularly 239 says a public officer or juror shall not commit corruption or willful oppression or extortion in respect of the duties of office. Then 2 says, a person shall not corrupt any other person in respect of a duty as a public officer. And what is corruption? What is corruption? Corruption is simply offering an inducement to a public officer. It's an inducement.
He was not inducing.
To influence that person in the performance of his duty. That inducement, for instance, I pay, you are MP, I'm a presiding officer, you come, and then while you are leaving, you give me money. You soften my stance towards, you are inducing me. You are corrupting the discharge of my. But just look at even 259. And what 259 says, and that was also amended. And just a minute, and you see that Nyako did not do well at all as a member of parliament, ought to have known. Is it 259 or 256? I've written it here. Let me provide it here. It says the new section 1 of that is section 9 of Act 1034. Is now provides a new section 1, a subsection 1 of section 256. It says, a person shall not act in a manner, underlined, in a manner that amounts to corruption and intimidation or personation in respect of a public election. You shouldn't act in a manner that amounts to corruption.
By giving,
lunch. Did it amount to corruption?
It amounted to corruption.
What could the officers have done for him?
What officer?
The temporary staff of the electoral commission.
Just explain to you.
Yes. What possibly could they have done?
We saw that. We saw
decide?
that in one video that what was trending. A public officer was counting the votes. Did you see the video?
And he jumped one. But I thought it was an edited video.
No, it was not edited. It was not edited.
From 33 to 37.
37.
No, but there were people that they would have.
No, it was not edited.
Really?
It was not edited. 2, how were they checking the voters who appeared before them? 3, how were the ballot papers given out? So we are saying that you shouldn't act in a manner that corrupts public elections. So, the man, Dr. Cecilia Dapaah, first of all, ought to not to have entered the inner perimeter. I agree. During elections, we designate certain people, give them accreditation to visit the polling stations for monitoring. But when they go, according to the electoral laws of this country, when they go to the polling stations, they don't enter in the perimeter. You stand outside the perimeter and invite your agents to come out, and then you consult. You can't go into the inner perimeter because it's a security zone.
But he didn't go to the inner perimeter.
Oh
No, but he went to the table. What else could be inner perimeter? The table. What else could be inner?
This was not different.
No, he invited them outside the perimeter.
Did you watch the video?
Yes, I have.
But he went to the table. He went to the table and he put the money on the table.
I mean, this one don't argue.
Oh. All right.
But the person who gave the money said, I was just giving them.
No, but he said he didn't go there. But
my people, my concern actually has been the MPP when they tried to defend him. You see, as a country, and now we have been doing some work.
So you think they should give him up?
They should have reported his conduct. Because
Really?
reported his conduct. Clearly. Because the party is a
It
legal...
amounted to throwing him under the bus.
The party is a legal person. Okay? And they should deprecate that conduct. And send a signal and report. I'm not saying that they should ask for a prosecution or arrest. They'll report the conduct to the police. This person is not supposed to do what he has done.
That will amount to throwing their one under the
but
bus.
that is the responsibility. If there is no accountability in the democratic system, it breeds impunity. Somebody else can do the same thing. So you report his conduct, but not defend him. I'm not saying that because
the way he did it. But honorable in his office, you were giving line to.
Oh, I'm not giving land to. I've told you that I don't give land to electoral commission.
No, he said let me take pros. We are wrapping up. We are wrapping up.
I'm not giving land to.
Let me. But are you
I have no responsibility to. I have no responsibility. I don't have responsibility.
Prof, let me speak to Prof.
If you say that, then it means we all haven't done it.
No, you said you have done it. You said you have done it.
That's what he's saying.
You have done it. You said you have done it.
You are saying it because we all.
What I'm saying is that the fact that you have done it doesn't mean that I have done it. I won't do it.
All right,
And then let me just conclude by saying one thing before Prof. I don't think that we yet understand, even on this network, the influence of money in our politics. We have so monetized the electoral system that if we extend it to the electoral commission, then our democracy will die.
Wow.
Honorable Inisa Hussein.
Yes, sir.
All right, Prof. Will you say that the conduct, the conduct of the honorable member, I mean Kingsley Nyakun, will you say that amounted to corrupting the officials of the Electoral Commission? The Electoral Commission is being careful to always say that they are temporary staff, whatever that means. Will you say that conduct of the MP could have corrupted the workings of the officials on the day?
Thank you so much. I'm not sure why the cameras were there at that particular point in time, but you see, I'm not a lawyer. My senior brother is a renowned lawyer, but I do believe that intention is very critical in determining crime. So basically, the Honorable Cecilia Dapaah is saying that his intention was not to corrupt or influence the process, and he just handed over a document. And other group of people believe that it was money. Even the EC's explanation said that he asked them whether they have eaten. And when they said no, he said they should use the content of the envelope to buy food. So if you look at it from that perspective, is it his responsibility to provide food to Electoral Commission officials? If not, why is he doing that? If he's a competitor in this particular process, will he benefit from that action or not? And I think I agree with Honorable Ejisu saying that monetization is one of the serious threats to our democracy. And if care is not taken, it is going to cause us a lot of problems. But I really applaud the state institutions for their quick action. The EC quickly withdraw those two officials and issue a statement. And this one, I just read that the OSP has invited Honorable Kingsley Nyako to commence an investigation. So I think a proper investigation will definitely establish the true intention of the act. And then if the true intention is established, the necessary action must be taken. I think we have to be seen as a country enforcing our rules and regulations, enforcing our laws, and then make sure that democracy is all about rules and regulations. And where we don't properly enforce them, then it becomes meaningless. And I think there should be an investigation, and the investigation must establish the true intention, and the necessary action must take place.
Very well. Thanks so much, Prof. The question that many of us really is, this was captured on live, video. How many more of these, might have? The question is, how many of these?
How many envelopes did he have?
Didn't happen in other polling centers, and that is a question that we should all be thinking about. And
I think it's
so the police. Yes, the police. But you said you've all done it, but yours was not captured. You said you've all done it, but you've not captured.
Were you in Ejisu? I wasn't in Ejisu.
You said you've all done it in his elections. All right, so the Electoral Commission has issued a statement condemning it and all of that. The police service also issued a statement. OSP also issued same. Let me read portions of the police's statement. So the Ghana Police Service has commenced investigation into the alleged electoral offense involving some temporary officers of the Electoral Commission and a member of parliament during the by-election in Ejisu in the Ashanti region. The persons involved, George Sasu, Regional Sewa, and Dr. Kingsley Nyako, have subsequently been invited by the police to assist the investigation and their statements duly taken. Police is working together with the Electoral Commission as the investigation continues. Prof, just 1 minute. Given the circumstances of that case, of course, the giver and the taker are both guilty. But could the two officers have said, no, we don't want this? Could they have said so?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. They could have refused it.
Given the circumstances of the case and our cultural upbringing and everything, could they have said, no, I will take your money, we don't want it? Could they have said it?
Yes. I don't think we should use our culture to make excuses for committing crimes. I think they should have, if they knew it was intended to influence them, they should have said no.
But would they? But would they know it was intended to influence them? Would they know? Somebody says, "I'm giving you lunch." The person hasn't told you, "I want it to influence you." Would they know?
I think when I look at the picture critically, I realized that when this envelope was being handed, no one was willing to take it. But one of the officers, I think, the main signal that it should be put on the table. If you look at the figure, if you can play the video again,
okay,
so
we'll re-examine the video.
Yes, that is.
So they knew that. So your view is that they knew that it was wrong, but they still went ahead and took it because they thought nobody was watching.
Because they didn't want to accept it with hand, but they were insisting that it should be put on the table.
So that they could draw it to themselves closer later.
On election days,
very well.
apart from election materials, and the food that the Electoral Commission will bring
to
them, all other matters introduced at the polling station are foreign material.
Very well. And the question to the other question,
you haven't gotten to election area.
Whether he hasn't done something before.
When you were contesting, whether people would say that, oh, your men are here, oh, we are hanging, you are
the way you are seeking to justify this. All right, so this is the big issue. Prof, thank you so much for your insight this morning. We are grateful. Professor Alidu Seidu is the head of political science department at the University of Ghana. He joined us on this segment of the program. Thank you so much. Now we take a short break. When we return, Cecilia Dapaah, the Attorney General, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor will be on, and Martin Kpebu will join the discussion. Don't go away. You're welcome back to the big issue. Just gone about the discussion on the Ejisu by-election and the matters arising, matters of alleged bribery, matters of voter apathy, etc., etc. I think we had a lively discussion. The next matter we want to consider with the remainder of the time is this matter of Cecilia Dapaah. If you recall, Cecilia Dapaah had two house helps who stole a lot of money, huge sums of money, millions of cedis converted, I mean, the dollars and the cedis, everything converted, millions of cedis from her bedroom. It turned out that she didn't even know the money was stolen until, some things happened. Then the house helps, confessed. She got them arrested, some of the money retrieved, etc. When the news broke, a lot of people were taken by surprise that why should the minister have these huge sums of money in her bedroom? Police got interested, OSP got interested, a lot of people got interested. OSP eventually invited them, arrested them, took their statements, raided their house at some point, and OSP said that they had more money retrieved. Now, OSP then established at some point that there could be money laundering, there could be other things. Before that, Cecilia Dapaah had said that the money was proceeds from her business, and that money also from the proceeds, money also from the funeral of his brother and a whole lot. And so she was the one to keep the money or keeping the money. OSP collaborated with the FBI of the US, and it did appear that they were making some headway. OSP became clearer that it was likely to be a money laundering matter. And the OSP by law did not have the mandate or does not have the mandate to deal with matters of money laundering. So the OSP transferred the matter to the Economic and Organized Crime Office called EOCO or EOCO. EOCO, being under the Attorney General's office, wrote to the Attorney General for advice on how to proceed. The Attorney General, on the 25th of April 2024, replied the letter from the EOCO and essentially asked them not to investigate the matter because there was nothing in there. It was unnecessary. There was nothing in there really. And so this is where we are. And people are surprised that the Attorney General will say that. Attorney General also the view that because the CID was already investigating the matter, it was not necessary for the EOCO to also do same. That is the matter at hand. My guest on this segment of the program, Honorable Ejisu Afuseni, is a lawyer, been here standing, former MP, former minister under the NDC administration. Honorable Samuel Ayepe is also a former member of parliament and is an MPP member. Martin Pebu is a human rights lawyer, is a director at the Human Rights and Governance Center. He is also a convener of the Kumipreku Reload, and he's my friend. He's also joined us in the discussion. He has been on this, and in fact, when the matter went to the High Court, we saw that famous picture of Cecilia Dapaah telling him something. We don't know what Cecilia Dapaah was telling him in that picture. But he joined us on Zoom as well. I will start off with him. Hello, Martin. Welcome to this. Welcome to the big issue. We saw earlier in the week the letter we saw earlier in the week the letter from the Attorney General, essentially asking EOCO not to get into the matter. As somebody who has followed this case, what was your initial thought when this letter came to your attention?
Yeah, Salom. So the letter is a huge mistake. Yeah, faux pas. That was a wrong step because the letter is not grounded in law. Salom, let's go straight, cut to the chase. The letter is saying something that's not law. The Attorney General and Evelyn Kilson, who signed the letter, they are insisting that you need a predicate offense before you can prosecute somebody for money laundering. But that is not correct. That is not correct. We have changed the law. So, Salon, if you hear any lawyer say that for an offense of money laundering, you need a predicate offense, that's not correct. What do we mean by predicate offense? That you should be able to show that the person first stole the money or knew that the money was stolen, or the person did narcotics, or knew that the money that was given to that person is money from narcotics or any illegal activity. And then the person seeks to do something legal or conceal it. That is the meaning of the predicate offense. The offense that came before the attempt at concealing the money, the attempt at disguising it. You are disguising the money when you set up a business more or less like washing it. You set up a business and begin to use that illegal money to do legal business, so that the profits that come out, you call it legal money, right? But the point is this: the new law says that if we are investigating money laundering,
by the new law, Martin,
and we don't find that predicate offense, we are allowed to say you are guilty of the offense if you too, that the suspect or the accused, cannot explain the source of that money. Let's read the section.
So
maybe let's go straight to what Parliament said.
So by the new law, are you referring to Act 1044? That's the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020. Great.
Section 1, subsection 3. So before I read section 1, subsection 3, let's go to the memo, the memorandum that accompanied the bill. All right? This is what they say. They said the clause that they are talking about, clause 1, which is now the section 1. The clause seeks to ensure Ghana fully meets the requirements under recommendation 3 of the Financial Action Task Force, which requires that when proving that property is the proceeds of crime, it should not be necessary that a person be convicted of a predicate offense. They say it's not necessary. The clause, therefore, introduces a component which distinguishes the offense of money laundering as a standalone offense. Please. So now the new law, and we'll read the new law, but this is the bill explaining that law. This is what the bill says. So please, anyone who continues to say, oh, money laundering, you need a predicate offense, he's talking about the old law. But for us in Ghana now, they say no need for predicate.
You disagree.
And so this is what the section says. Section 1, subsection 3. It says, where a person under investigation for money laundering is in possession or control of property which the person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to the income of that person from known sources, that person shall be deemed to have committed an offense under subsection.
I see.
You see? Yes. So, and the subsection 2 is what I was referring to earlier. When you know the money is from narcotics, from stealing, from any other offense, and now you are seeking to disguise it, you are seeking to conceal it, blah, blah, blah. So please, seller, and this new law we've made is in accordance with our own constitution, Article 286 clause 4, which has always been there since 1992. Because the law in Article 286 clause 4, it says that if you have any money, public servant, and you cannot account for it, it is deemed illegal. Let's read it briefly. It says, any property or assets acquired by a public officer after the initial declaration required by clause 1 of this article, and which is not reasonably attributable to income, gift, loan, inheritance, or any other reasonable source shall be deemed to have been acquired in contravention of this constitution. So you see, so that's the same thing section 1(3), that's section 1 subsection 3 talks about. So please, anybody who says, like they are saying in the letter, the AG's advice, oh, we need to find the illegal source of the money, is false. It's false. That is not law. Under our law currently, because Cecilia Dapaah cannot explain the source of the money straight, if you take her to court, she's guilty, because she made 3 attempts to explain and all failed. Number 1, she said the money was donations for the deceased brother. Then the deceased brother's wife, the widow, decided to sue with William Kusi leading her. That's lawyer William Kusi leading her. When Cecilia Dapaah saw she was going to be sued, then she backtracked. Later, she said she got it from cosmetic business. The two cosmetic businesses she gave to OSP. In the OSP report last year, was it around November, you see that they said those businesses didn't belong to Cecilia Dapaah. So it tells you that it's the case that Madame Dapaah cannot explain the sources of the money. And so Section 1, Subsection 3 will catch her. So Attorney General's letter is so bad. It has to be withdrawn. The Attorney General should be humble. Look, Selom, you and I will go to court every day. We also make mistakes. We don't know it all. We also make mistakes, right? So if AG has gotten it wrong, he should just accept it, that he will make mistakes. He cannot win every case. When we went to the Domlevo case, when Akufo-Addo handed Domlevo out of office, AG lost the case. The COVID-19 law, the imposition of restriction, Supreme Court, Vomawo, Samson Labia Yenini, Professor Apieje, Echia, etc. They won against AG. We can continue to count. So AG cannot always get it right. This particular one, subsection 3 is clear that if we are investigating, we can't find evidence. And you too, you cannot explain how you got the money. You've committed the offense, so please, they should go on. But Salom, can I jump into how they allowed Cecilia Dapaah to get the money back? Iyoko,
yes, but we'll get to that. But let me deal with this. So does this mean that this letter from the Attorney General or this advice mean that Iyoko should back off, or it's just an advice, a piece of advice? Iyoko could decide to still go ahead. Look at the last paragraph, or last about one paragraph. It says, even though as part of your mandate, you could commence investigations into the sources of the money found in the home of the suspects, we do not find this necessary since the office before the reference by the OSP had instructed the police service, who are already seized with other aspects of the case, to investigate the sources of the huge sums of money found in the home of the suspects, a fact the OSP is aware of. Does this mean that Iyoko could say, even though you have advised us not to, we could still go ahead and do it? Can they do that? Are they able to do that?
Yes, absolutely. Iyoko can do that. Iyoko is allowed to do that because they themselves, under their law, okay, Section 2 of the Iyoko Act, gives them the mandate to investigate offenses. When it comes to investigation, they are not subject to the Attorney General. It is the prosecution that the Attorney General has to give them consent or a fiat. So let's distinguish it. Section 2 of the Iyoko Act, Act 804, says Iyoko can investigate and detect crime. That is why they were set up. And they have a board, which is made up of what? Senior police officers, etc. So Iyoko, as a statutory body, can investigate without the Attorney General coming in. It's only that practically, if Attorney General is not interested for political reasons, you see, to shield corrupt officers, then when they are done with the investigation, Attorney General can say, I'm not allowing you to prosecute. But if Iyoko works as a good statutory body, and they can leak the report. You leak the report, and once it comes into the public, we'll put pressure, and the person will be prosecuted. Let's not forget, look, how did President Nixon lose office? The Watergate scandal. It took a deputy director of the FBI at the time to leak the report about Watergate when associates of President Nixon broke into the Democrats' office to look for evidence. Yeah? So deputy director of FBI, he leaked the report. And then fast forward, President Nixon eventually had to resign. The whole president of the United States, he had to resign. That's the Watergate scandal. Then I can go on and on and how developed countries tell you that through leakage of documents, they strengthen their government. So Iyoko can go ahead and do the investigation. And if Attorney General says no, they shouldn't prosecute.
They should leak the documents to the media so that it will bring pressure to bear on the government. Very well. Martin, the other point, of course, you wanted to go there about the conduct of Iyoko in all of this. I know you are unhappy with the fact that Iyoko was not present when the seized cash and all of that were given back to Cecilia Dapaah and her husband. Why should Iyoko necessarily be there when the money is being given back to them, or when the money was given back to them?
So, Salam, one, before Ejisu went to court to say he's withdrawing the case, he had earlier on done a press conference when he said it publicly that in the coming weeks, I'll be handing over the file to Iyoko because I'm seeing money laundering. Salam, public officers, they said in the coming weeks. So what was Iyoko doing all this while? I understand there's an officer of Iyoko who is the focal point. Anything they need from OSP, is that officer who has to do it. Vice versa, there's an officer at OSP. If they need anything from Iyoko, they do through him. Though the bosses themselves can talk, but they have desk officers, right? So if the man tells you, I'm bringing you a file in the coming weeks, this person who is paid at Iyoko to be a focal person, what was he doing? Of course, ultimately, we will hold the bosses responsible. But that desk officer, what was he doing? Ejisu did a press conference publicly. Then number two, Salon. The day Ejisu went to court to say he's withdrawing, and then the judge said he should then return the money within 72 hours. That was 25th of January this year. 25th of January. So it was broadcast on the news that the judge says, okay, if we are withdrawing your case against Cecilia Dapaah, then return the money within 72 hours. So what was Iyoko doing all this while? All this while, I think it's a deliberate attempt that they weren't proactive so that the money will return to Cecilia Dapaah. That is why I asked for the resignation of Tiwa Adedankwa, because I believe this type of nonchalance is deliberate. Look, let's say it too. She's a nice woman, but we are not talking about nice woman here. We are talking about public office. This money, $540,000 and 2.7 million, right? That's the cash that was seized. How? Why can you sleep for? Because look, that Saturday, 27th January, if you Google, you find. I was on Newsfile, and before I went to Newsfile, I was on TV3, Key Point, where I kept repeating. And even before that Saturday, as soon as the decision was given, actually that 25th of January, I kept saying it in interviews that, hey, then Iyoko should accompany OSP, so that when OSP is handing over the money, they seize it. Iyoko, they say they don't have intelligence. Even if the bosses don't listen to news, Iyoko doesn't have an intelligence unit. Iyoko doesn't have an intelligence unit that will know what's going on in Ghana. Are we serious? Oh, let's stop this thing. So they deliberately did it. And so now let's come to the last chapter of why I think it's deliberate. Look, when we profile the Iyoko boss, Mami Tiwa Adedankwa, she's bent, in the past, she's shown softness to government. She's shown so much softness for government when it comes to cases against them. When Abu Jinapor and Ason Suotri were reported to the CID boss by Kwame A+, that they take money from people who seek to see the president, Madam Tiwa Adedankwa took a phone and was begging A+ not to press charges, that he should drop the case. It will make the government unpopular. It's out there. If you Google it, you can still hear the tape. A+ is alive. He recorded it. Kwame A+ is alive. And the video is, the audio is out on the net there. So somebody who is trying to suppress corruption, somebody who is not interested in the fight against corruption, how can you make the person head of an economic and organized crime unit? Apart from that case, there's also the Takrady girls, the girls who got missing. Even when they hadn't found them yet, Madam Tiwa, in order to reduce pressure against the government, ran to the media. Oh, we found the girls. We know where they are. To date, we've not found them. Case number 3, Sewa Broni, who says she's President Kufuor's girlfriend that they are dating. She reported a case that because she fell out with Kufuor, national security came to commit robberies on her. They entered her hotel room, blah, blah, blah. Hobson Adoya is fingered in it. The same thing, Tiwa Dankwa didn't work on the case. If you Google it, you see Sewa Broni, that case against national security and the Kufuor is there. They've made it a foolish case. Case number 4, Amwakwata, who was former minister for roads and highways, reported to Iyoko that Professor Stephen Adair had said that they take money, corrupt money from contractors upfront, even before they are awarded road contracts. This is a complaint Amwakwata gave to Iyoko. And also, just before we continue, this is the same Amwakwata who had said his ministry is full of corrupt people, thieves, right? That public officers in his ministry were thieves and corrupt. Later, Stephen Adair makes the same allegation that they take money even up front. He mentioned 1 million before they get contracts. Now, Salom, here's the point. That case Amwakwata took to Iyoko. Iyoko has no mandate to prosecute corruption cases. So why would they be investigating corruption?
All right,
Section 80.
Yes.
Section 80 of the OSP Act.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, whilst you deal with that, I wanted to just pick some views around the table so that we see. So whilst you get the section ready. Honorable, what's your thinking around the Attorney General actually essentially asking Iyoko not to deal with this matter? You know, Martin is stated a number of laws, or read from a number of laws, etc. We said that, you know, the AG was obviously wrong. Do you hold the same view?
Well, you cannot come to any conclusion but the conclusion that Martin has come to, and many other people have come to that conclusion. Even before the Iyoko took the case, I was on the same platform with Martin when he said that the 27th January thing, and I said it will come to nothing. Because it defeats the reason why the Office of the Special Prosecutor was established. You know, the Special Prosecutor was established according to the MPP 2016 manifesto because the Attorney General was displaying a lack of interest in prosecuting members of his government. That was the very reason. And so they said they are going to establish the Office of the Special Prosecutor independent. In their manifesto, they even called it an independent Office of the Special Prosecutor. So when we worked to establish the Office of the Special Prosecutor, we were under an impression and understanding that the Office of the Special Prosecutor will work independent of the Attorney General. Now, so since the past case, you go around and come to the position pre-2016. Because you know that if Iyoko investigates and comes to the conclusion that there is money laundering and that they are going to prosecute for money laundering, it is the Attorney General who will give the what? The fiat
to prosecute.
And then in 2016, you said, oh, the Attorney General's inability to fight corruption was precisely because he had difficulty.
But we're talking about money laundering. And the OSP says his act doesn't allow him.
Well, I'm not talking about OSP.
Yeah, but OSP was the one investigating.
That's the trend of my argument. You establish OSP. I have difficulty even with the OSP, and I have difficulty with certain aspects of Martin's submission. The Office of the Special Prosecutor was established precisely because the Attorney General could not deal with members of his own government. That's what the MPP said in the 2016 manifesto. We worked assiduously to establish the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 959, to give the Special Prosecutor operational independence from the Attorney General. Now, Special Prosecutor takes up a case involving a cabinet minister or a minister of his government, of a government or this particular government, and then comes to the conclusion that it cannot prosecute the case because what it has found does not lie within its jurisdiction. That's money laundering. And refers the case to the Iyoko. So this is a minister whose matter has been referred to Iyoko. So you come to the status quo ante.
What used to be.
What used to be.
For which you established the OSP.
OSP. So you will see that you are come full circle and that this minister will not be prosecuted. Because you had said that in your 2016 manifesto. So I was not enthused at all. I had absolutely no confidence, apart from the things that Martin has mentioned about the executive director of Iyoko. I had absolutely no confidence because of the historical antecedents. Because the Attorney General was not going to prosecute one of his own. There was no way the Attorney General was going to do that. And so I'm not surprised at all about the letter written by the Attorney General. And that shows the uselessness of the situation. The uselessness. Yes, our law is in tandem with the FATF rules, the Financial Action Task Force rules, which in section 1.3 shifts the burden of proof from the prosecutor to the owner of the money. Okay? Because if you are going to fight corruption, and that is also found in section, but that one relates to conduct of public officers. Yes, for this particular case, Cecilia Dapaah was a public officer. But any other person who is being prosecuted for money laundering, which section article 2864 will not apply to, the section 1.3 will apply to that person if that person is a private person. Now, so you needed that exception to the rule, the general rule, that money laundering must have a predicate offense. So in a situation where you can, and there are many situations where the illegal activities would have been done outside the jurisdiction of the country. And so you will not have access or understanding of the
predicate
offense. The law says you can prosecute. It's an exception to the rule. You can prosecute under section 1.3 of the law. Now, so when the special prosecutor referred the matter to Iyoko, I asked, because everything about this matter appeared to have happened in Ghana. In the investigations of the special prosecutor, what did he find as the predicate offense? Or he didn't find a predicate offense? He didn't find one. He didn't see that this money was coming out of corruption. He didn't see that this money was coming out of abuse of office. He didn't see that this was tax evasion. Because if you are doing lawful business and you make money, you must pay tax on the money. If you fail to pay tax, that's tax avoidance.
How about funeral donations?
Funeral donations.
One of the things.
Or gifts.
Yeah, one. So
you have a gift tax.
No, but in this case, in this case,
we don't have funeral donations. We are calling it gifts. So we have a gift tax. So if you receive gifts,
but that'll be a high bar because we don't pay tax on funeral money.
No, you are a lawyer. So let's educate the public. So when you receive funeral donations, you are receiving gifts from family members to allow you to perform the funeral.
Funeral donation is different from ordinary gifts.
Oh, I'm not talking about ordinary gifts.
If the
We are talking about gifts.
So
when you fail to pay tax on gifts received, you are engaged in what we call tax avoidance.
Tax evasion?
Tax evasion.
Evasion, yeah.
Tax avoidance or tax evasion.
Tax evasion. Tax avoidance is not illegal.
Tax evasion. And tax evasion
is a crime.
It's a crime. So because you have evaded tax, that's why you are able to launder the money. So I wanted to know, to be honest with you, whether the special prosecutor had uncovered a symptom of the nature of the activity that had given rise to the illegal, or unlawful possession of those monies, and whether the unlawful possession could be, we could hide the offense of money laundering and give to Iyoko, and then they will prosecute the offenses that they had seen. But they said they didn't see any. So they took it to Iyoko. And then the last paragraph of the Attorney General's listing. If Iyoko haven't assumed the case for the purposes of investigations and prosecution, is there a law that prevents Iyoko from initiating investigations?
Because CID is doing same. So
why is there a law? I don't say that CID is not.
No, there's no.
CID.
So why would they attend?
That is what the
So it's
letter
advice.
says.
It's advice.
So why would the Attorney General advise them to?
We have.
Let's call the spade a spade. When you have a pilolo government, hide and seek government, seeking to do whatever it can to cover up the corrupt and nefarious activities of its appointees and agents, that is the kind of conduct they exhibit.
I see.
Clearly, this is what in local parlance they call wogadri. He has dribbled the Attorney General and the Office of the Special Court. And to be honest with you, from the beginning, even from his appointment,
you suspected it.
I suspected that it was going to be
the Office of the Attorney General, a spokesperson for the AG, Wilberforce Mensah, is on
even the Attorney General's office has a spokesperson.
Yes, that
is the layers of corrupt activities.
No, but it's a ministry.
So which ministry has a spokesperson?
No, I mean the public relations unit. The public relations unit.
Did they call it PR?
No, my producer is checking that. But the public relations unit
of
the
layers
office
of corrupt and corrupt
Attorney
activities.
General, Wilberforce Mensah, who is my friend too.
Yeah. He's your friend. The new lawyers.
Okay. I hear he's gone up. We'll re-establish connection with him. Honorable Samuel Aipe. Okay. So Wilberforce is back. There's a name we call him, but he's back.
Sparkus, eh?
No, not Sparkus. I'll tell you. Wilberforce, welcome to the program. The letter from your office. Yes, the letter from your office suggests that even though the Attorney General, the IOCO, has a mandate to commence investigations into the matters, the advice is that it will not be necessary. In a few minutes, why does your office think that it's not necessary for IOCO to commence its own investigations?
Well, what the letter sought to say was to respond to, but before I even go on, I mean, I'm hearing for the first time that having a spokesperson amounts to layers of corruption. I don't know how that.
Just disregard that. I didn't allow it. So just disregard that and do it.
But he said it. He said it. Anyway.
But I said it's a public relations unit.
Attorney General's office, when MPP came into office, not so.
No, but so we shouldn't employ people during MPP time.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
For the record, I've been a state attorney.
It's a state attorney, actually. Yes, it's a state attorney.
So it's just an added responsibility.
It's a state attorney.
And I'm not taking one Ghana cedi extra for serving my country. So let that be put on record. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the substantive matter. So the letter to IOCO saying that it is not necessary. It is not necessary is an advice. Remember, it's an advice from the Office of the Attorney General. It's not necessary. It's not the same as do not, or I'm commanding you not to. I think these are two very different things. And in respect of section 1.3, which seems to be the main source of reliance for Mr. Martin Kpebu, saying that you do not need a predicate offense, I think that is very much misunderstood, with the greatest of respect to learned counsel. So section 1.3 says that where a person under investigation for money laundering, so there's that caveat, there's that preamble. So you don't just jump straight to saying that it's a standalone offense. It's not a standalone offense as you say it. Where a person is under investigation for money laundering, and money laundering has been explained in earlier subsections of the same section, which sort of defines money laundering in a nutshell as concealing proceeds from crime. So first, there has to be the crime or the offense. So where a person in subsection 1.3 or section 1, subsection 3, when it says where a person under investigation for money laundering. So I think it's quite basic. To be under investigation for money laundering would mean to have been found culpable of an offense, not held guilty, not being convicted, as the memorandum says. So the reliance on the memorandum is also respectfully misconstrued. So memorandum focuses on the word conviction. So Martin may refer to that portion of the memorandum again. So you do not need a conviction per se. That's what it says. But it doesn't take away the fact that there has to be an offense, or at least an investigation in respect of a particular offense, or especially So you need to ask yourself, what happened in respect of the substantive offense? You had the OSP himself saying that these are his words, not mine, that they conducted intensive investigations for 7 months. The OSP himself said that for 4 months, FBI also joined in what they called collaborative investigations. So you have close to a year of investigation. They went through every single contract, every single procurement done by the former minister, and no offense was found. So then money laundering does not come in, because we have already explained what money laundering is. So if there's the absence of the offense, then a person cannot be properly investigated for money laundering. I think it's very plainly worded, and it doesn't even contradict what the memorandum is saying when the memorandum says clearly, uses the word conviction. So the memorandum is saying that you do not need a conviction for the predicate offense. That's what the memorandum is saying. The memorandum is not saying abstract or making a point simpliciter that no matter what, you do not need an offense. So the offense, I'm reiterating, I'm saying again that the investigations were done by the OSP for intensive investigations, I repeat, for 7 months, 4 months collaborative investigations with the FBI, and absolutely no offense, to the best of our knowledge, to the best of Martin's knowledge, to the best of everyone's knowledge, has been found. So I think that's the explanation. And also case law, Martin, let me respectfully refer you to the NCA case, Republic vs. Bafo-Bonny, where it was abundantly clear that in the absence of the main offense being stealing, the doctor who was charged as well could not have been found guilty of money laundering.
Very well. Thanks so much.
In respect of that.
Great. I think your intervention has been useful. Ejisu Afuseni, who earlier had issues with you, agrees with most part of your submission. So this is how we conclude today's edition of the program. My name is Selom Adonu. My guests, Ejisu Afuseni, Samuel Ayepai, Isaac Wilberforce Mensah, and Martin Kpebu joined us on this segment of the program. Thank you so much for doing the listening and the viewing as well. I'll catch you same time next week. Have a good afternoon.